There's been a lot of inspirational stories today about doing good things in the community. This is not going to be one of them. I don't live anywhere. I visit Penang 3 months a year. Penang is one of many homes that I have, and I love Penang. And I'm just here to share the weird story of one guy and maybe open your eyes to possible alternative way of living, making money, because I think that travel is important. And the more people from Penang that can go out into the world and learn things and bring the focus back to Penang, I think is a good thing. So that's my little community outreach speech there. But that was a 90-second video that I put together to sell myself. My rap name is Malkovich. All the good ones were taken. And basically, that's the pitch video for One Bag. Now, One Bag is a project that started relatively recently, but I've been rapping since 1995. I was born in Italy to an Iranian mother and a British father, lived in Europe, North Africa, Middle East, moved to Los Angeles in 1992, right after the Los Angeles riots, right when Snoop Doggy Dogg and Dr. Dre came out, and I fell in love with hip hop, and it has not stopped yet. Hip hop is the only reason I'm here right now. If I had not fallen in love with hip hop, I don't know, maybe doctor, teacher, who knows, but it changed my life forever, it changed the entire course, and I'm about to tell you how and why. Started rapping 1995, put out the albums myself, designed the covers, designed the music, fund the CD pressing, sell them in the streets, create the website, you name it, I did it all on my own. And needless to say, didn't quite work out because I'm not world famous. And to me, that's the point. There's a lot of people that are happy with small fan bases. You know, you can sell to them and sustain to them. But for me, it's all or nothing. Either you're the top, or I'd rather not bother. So, early 2000s, my group broke up. I was part of a group. And at around that time, I was also writing for magazines. And I interviewed all the famous rappers. I don't know who knows 50 Cent, Nas, Wu-Tang Clan, Master P, Snoop Dogg. I've interviewed them all. I didn't interview Tupac and Biggie, but I interviewed everybody else. And then I went to start my magazine. It was a magazine called Rhyme. It's no longer in print, but I ran it for 5 years. I was the editor-in-chief. I wrote about half all of the stories. I edited the whole thing. It was a large-size publication, 40,000 copies every 2 months. It was all over the US and it was all over the world. And during this time, I wasn't making much money. This was right around the death of print, when the internet was just starting to come up and sales of print magazines were lagging. So I was living in an apartment in Los Angeles. Los Angeles is an expensive city, and I was juggling music and writing, and I was very broke. And this is the part of the story that I've never shared with anybody publicly. My friends know it, but I've never shared it publicly, is that I try to keep my two pursuits separate. There's Malkovich the rapper, but now there's also James Dunn, the publicist, the writer. And one fuels the other. Because my music is not making money. Just like a lot of people's music is no longer making money after the internet got involved and everything is free download. The new philosophy in music is give people enough free music, gain enough social media followers and emails, and then maybe one day when you have the combined reach of maybe 100,000 people, you can market an album to them, and let's say 10% of them are gonna pick it up. Then you're making a little bit of money. But until then, you have to give this stuff away. And if it's just you doing it, things take a long time. I'm 35, and things are only just starting to come together for me because I've been doing all of this on my own. And I got tired of wondering how long I was gonna have to wait to do what I wanted to do, whether or not success came. How can I travel the world? How can I go live places? And I started to think about what I don't need. And I realized I don't need a house. I don't need possessions. Maybe one day I will, but right now I'm young. I don't need these things. So at the same time, I was building my publicity company, Done Deal PR. And what we do is rappers and musicians pay us, well, when I say us, I mean me. It's basically me. They pay me to email their link to their video or their album or their song to magazines and radio stations and websites all over the world, and just bug the hell out of them until they listen to it or play it or talk about it or interview them or review them. This started because I was doing it for myself. I'm a selfish artist. I'm not interested in entertaining you so much as I'm interested in entertaining myself. And there's a lot of artists out there like that. So you have to know that you are probably not gonna be the next pop star because you're too artsy. So if you're gonna be artsy, then you need to take a career into your own hands. So I started promoting myself, and then after a while, other people asked if I could do the same for them. And then now this business began for me. And it was a few years, bad few years, hard. Kept working, very broke, bad. And it got to the point where I realized that without investment money, I was funding everything myself. Without investment money, I will never get ahead. To live in Los Angeles and keep the lights on and keep the rent on with this little bit of money you're making, you will never get ahead. So on January 1st, 2012, I pushed all my stuff in the street, and I sold the couch and I sold the desk and everything else that I couldn't sell. I left it there, and then homeless people took it overnight. And then on January 1st, 2012, I gave up my apartment and I packed 2 bags and I went to New York because a friend of mine had a room there. And I thought I was gonna stay in New York because New York is my favorite city in the world. But as soon as I got there, he told me, you got 3 months. So in my mind, I was thinking to myself, how am I going to pay to live in New York? Because the only city more expensive than LA is New York. So social media to the rescue. That's the theme of today, apparently. Every single artist in the world is on Twitter. And there have never been more artists making music than there are right now. 10 years ago, maybe 300 albums came out every year because they were hard to manufacture, hard to create, expensive. Now, maybe 300, 400 albums come out every day. And they're free. No one's charging for them. They're just created, put on the internet, all hoping to go viral. And each one of those people are interested in spending money with someone who can promote them effectively. So if you do the math on the potential money, that is the biggest money-making opportunity in the world today, one of them. And I figured out that in order to get all my leads in one place, all my potential business, all I had to do was search Twitter. So I had this guy create a program that searches Twitter for keywords: rapper, musician, artist, label, on the bio, on the profile. And if the email is present, I get that as well. So he created it for me, and we ran it on Twitter, and we ended up with 2-3 million people. Rappers, labels, email right there. You clean all this data, you email them every day, 2,000-3,000 a day, brother, you're a billionaire. So that's what we've been working on. That's what I've been working on for the last, since 2012. And it was all because I was in New York thinking I'm gonna starve out here if I don't figure out how to make money, real money. So I left New York, lived a couple months in New Orleans, then I lived a couple months in Atlanta. And at the same time, I was talking to a producer named Becoming Phil, who is from Namibia. That's a country in South Africa, next to South Africa, sorry. And he had heard my music, found me on Twitter, and invited me to come down there and make an album with him. And I said, well, why not? So I booked my ticket and I flew to Johannesburg, then another plane over to Vinter. I lived with him for 2 months. We made an album. And it was around this time that I got this idea, why don't I keep doing this? So I switched my whole Twitter page up and I said, hey, all you producers out there, I don't care where you are, send me your music. If I like it, I'm coming to your country. So since then, I've been to Penang. Last year I was here, and I have recorded an album in Italy. I recorded an album in Belgium. I will be leaving here in the next couple weeks or so to Cambodia to record an album there. In November, I'm going to Australia to record an album there. Then early January, I'll be back in Namibia to finish that one. Then in spring, I was invited to Nigeria, and then Brazil is coming up afterwards. Then I'll probably go back to LA and kiss my mother. But the money powering all of this is done deal. And I run the whole thing from my laptop. The good folks at Work Palette have been giving me great fast Wi-Fi, and I'm there every day, all day working. And everywhere I go, I'm looking for places just like this to run the business. I have an employee here in Penang, I have another one in Kenya, and we all work over the internet. And I don't know, if you check the internet, if you Google the phrase digital nomad, you'll get results for a lot of guys like me who live what they call a location-independent lifestyle, which basically means they threw it all away and they work over the internet and they travel as much as they like. So hopefully that's my inspiration to you, is that it's possible to live a couple dreams at once. You might have to sacrifice some things, you definitely will, but maybe you don't need them as much as you think you do. And that's me.